What's up, YouTube? My name is Big Boy Snatch on TV, aka what kind of snatch one, because I got plenty going around. As you can tell by the title of the thumbnail, this is my AEW Dynamite review and highlights. So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys please go watch the video from all the way from the beginning all the way towards the end. Hit that like button, subscribe to my channel for more wrestling content that I do on the channel. Follow my social media down below in the description, and go check out my WWE NXT review and highlights, and also go check out my WWE Raw review and highlights that I did on the channel. Without further ado, let's get started. Now, AEW Dynamite was a solid show for what it was, and I give that show a 6 out of 10. The AEW Dynamite was live from Cincinnati, Ohio. It says right here, it says right here, we kick things off with female world champion MJF making his way out to a curious of booze. It should be worth nothing that Freeman is the world light heavyweight champion, having won it at a recent event. But before MJF can speak, he is interrupted by the arrival of Hangman Adam Page to a big pop from the crowd. MJF runs down Biscuit, including a mention of how he lost the title the first time he defended. Adam Page certainly points out to Fredman that the Biscuit story ends with that horse winning, before telling MJF that if he's not here to fight or execute that contract for a world title shot, to go home and admit he doesn't have the stomach. MJF demands a mic that Page hasn't touched, telling the crowd to shut up. He says that's good and bad are subjective, but MJF isn't the problem. Hangman Adam Page is. He runs Hangman Page down over the fact that fans act like he isn't unfallible God. MJF learned from an earlier day that an all-powerful God can be all good, and neither is Hangman, before telling the world champion he's not a god. He's a weak-minded, depressed, alcoholic little boy. MJF doesn't have a problem with being called the devil, as he rather have than be paraded around to be a phony, false idol like Page. MJF believes that he's real before saying to take back what his in the world title and take the wolf sheep clothing off Page. He ends by saying he's going to take everyone God, and he is going to confront him. Page says he understands the point he's trying to make, but MJF doesn't seem to understand that no one knows Adam's faults more than he does. Some might look past his mistakes, but he won't. He will own up to them. He then tells MJF that he keeps acting like he has a match at Forbidden Door, but what he has is a contract that he can execute. MJF says he's a day one guy in AEW, so he should know that AEW is about going all in, so do it. He continues to needle Fredman, calling him a coward, and this rallies MJF enough to announce his executing his contract for a match at Forbidden Door. The realization sets in quick as the fans mock him for his decisions, and Hangman says he'll see MJF at Forbidden Door. Dumb you know what. Hangman music hits as he leaves the ring, and MJF kicks the ropes out of anger and frustration. A pretty sweet opening segment. Loved the confrontation between Page and MJF, leading to Hangman rallying MJF up enough to execute the title contract. That's our world title match, short of Forbidden Door, folks. This was a good segment to kick off AEW Dynamite. I love this segment right here between MJF and Hangman Adam Page. We take a look back at the issue between Jon Moxley and Darby Allin before hearing from Jon Moxley that whatever match Darby Allin wants at Forbidden Door isn't happening. With that, he heads through the crowd alongside the Death Riders of Yuta and Rhea Shafir for our opening match of the night. Kevin Knight is out next, with Speedball Mike Bailey accompanying him, and he charged at Jon Moxley to get this match underway. All right, so we get the first match. So we get Jon Moxley versus Kevin Knight. And in this match right here, this was a I ain't gonna lie, this was a good match. This was a good opening match right here. The early fury of Kevin Knight is cut off by the former world champion, who beats Kevin Knight down to the mat before looking for a Texas Cloverleaf. Kevin Knight breaks free, sending Jon Moxley through the ropes to the outside. Jon Moxley catches Kevin Knight on the outside, sending him to the barricade for a few punches before sending Kevin Knight into the announcer table. He heads to the ring just long enough to break the referee's count as Bayley checks on Kevin Knight. Kevin Knight starts to fight back before Jon Moxley catches him for a scoop slam, only for Kevin Knight to evade being sent into the ring steps. He jumps onto the apron for a missile dropkick that sends Jon Moxley to the floor before sending him back into the ring. Jon Moxley with denied guards to slow things down. But Kevin Knight sends him onto the elevated ramp before landing a dive mounted punches by Kevin Knight before Jon Moxley managed to break away. He used the steps to get off the ramp, and Kevin Knight launches off the ramp, only to be sent crashing to the floor by Jon Moxley, who is sit on the apron to watch the referee check on Kevin Knight as we go to commercial break. Back from commercial break, Kevin Knight finally managed to break free of Jon Moxley's grip to fight back, but the former world champ goes right back on him. This leads to a pair of trading strikes until Jon Moxley takes a bite out of Kevin Knight to bring it to an end. Something that Kevin Knight offers in retaliation before dropping Jon Moxley to the canvas for a splash and a near fall. He sends Jon Moxley to the corner, now with the former champ trying to fight back before Kevin Knight connects with a superplex to get a 2 count before Jon Moxley kicks out. Jon Moxley gets to his feet as Kevin Knight goes back after him, with Jon Moxley taking him down with a DDT. God style power driver gets reversed by Kevin Knight for a 2 count, and Kevin Knight takes Jon Moxley back down for another near fall as well. The fight spills out of the ring before Jon Moxley heads back in, with Wheeler Yuta intervening, only to get laid out by Kevin Knight, who gets caught by the former champ. Kevin Knight tries to fight back for a splash, but lands on his knee of Jon Moxley, who locks in what it refers to as an inverted triangle choke to make Kevin Knight tap out. The winner by submission, Jon Moxley. This was a good opening match right here between Kevin Knight and Jon Moxley. Bayley tries to stop a Death Rider attack post-match, but the numbers game is too much for jet speed until Darby Allin music hits, bringing Darby Allin out with a body bag and a skateboard. The distraction as he comes down is enough for jet speed to get some revenge, clearing out the ring, saying Wheeler Yuta, who gets laid out by Darby Allin with a skateboard. He puts Wheeler Yuta in a body bag, but Claudio Castagnoli stops him from hitting a coffin drop before pulling Wheeler Yuta out of the bag. Castagnoli goes after Darby Allin, now putting the former TNT champion into the very same bag before zipping it up and hoisting him up onto his shoulders for an airplane spin before dropping Darby Allin onto the mat. Wheeler Yuta comes back into the ring with a chair as they rip the bag open, setting the chair up around Darby Allin's neck. But Will Ospreay pulls Claudio Castagnoli out of the ring to make the save. He slides into the ring, dodging a chair shot by Wheeler Yuta to lay him out with a hidden blade. Wheeler Yuta leaves the ring as Jon Moxley pulls him towards the rest of the group. Will Ospreay grabs a mic, telling Jon Moxley that he and his friends tried to snap his neck, so he's gonna snap Jon Moxley's. Alright, if he won't take up Darby Allin's challenge for Forbidden Door, he's got a better idea. Jon Moxley can get his friends, Will Ospreay will get his, and we have a lights out steel cage match. The crowd pops as Will Ospreay music hits, leaving us to wonder where this is going as we cut away. Good opening match, not exactly barn, but I had fun seeing Kevin Knight go up against Jon Moxley. That said, did like the return of Will Ospreay for a post-match save. And while I'm a little confused about the Lights Out Steel Cage challenge made for Forbidden Door, I'm eager to see. All right, let's move on. Video package. Adam Copeland's return to AEW sees him dealing with FTR refusing to let him anywhere near them, and it all comes down to a match against Stokely tonight. With the catch, that if FTR gets involved, their restraining order becomes non invalid. Back at ringside, Mercedes Moné makes her way out for our next match, and that is coming after this break. So we go to commercial break. Back from the break, a triangle of madness comes out as Sky Blue and the Kala are ready to team with Mercedes Moné for this match tonight. Man, their theme sounds a touch like the Beautiful People, don't it? Anyway, out next is Alex Windsor, followed by Queen Amnata and Willow Nightingale, who heads to the ring to get this match on the way. Well, I think we do soon, as Toni Storm and Athena also make their entrance. Oh, there's the bell now. Here we go. So we get the TBS Championship. Mercedes Moné, Dakala, and Sky Blue versus Alex Mansour, Queen Amnata, and Will Nightingale. And this match right here, I ain't even gonna lie. This was a fun trios match. We kick things off with Sky Blue and Windsor, and with Blue breaking out of a powerbomb attempt to land an elbow strike. She hits the ropes but runs into a shoulder block by Windsor, who makes the tag to Willow Nightingale. Willow Nightingale sends Sky Blue to the opposite corner for a series of strikes before taking her down with a lariat for a near fall. Tag made to Mercedes Moné as Amnata tags in as well, with the CEO taking Amnata down before the Queen fights back with a swinging full Nelson, followed by the Chocolate Kiss before bringing her to the corner for a tag to Winslow. She takes Mercedes Moné to the mat, but a sharpshooter attempt is blocked, allowing the CEO to take control for a tag to Sky Blue as we get in commercial break. Back from the commercial break, Dakala and Willow are the legal women in the match, and Willow takes the Toxic Spider down with a missile dropkick. The match quickly breaks down with all 6 women getting involved, and it all leads to a pair of corner splashes and a cannonball, taking the CEO and her pals for the night down hard. Queen Amnata gets the tag and takes the collar down for a 2 count, and as she sees Julia up on the apron, takes her down with a headbutt. Mercedes Moné gets the tag now, but the Queen Amnata takes her down hard before tagging in Windsor, who gets the CEO down for a near fall. Sharpshooter is applied now, and Mercedes Moné is struggling to get to the ropes. Just as Sky Blue reaches over for a tag, Sky Blue goes off but gets taken out by Queen Amnata, only for the collar to take the Queen Amnata down. Windsor is back in, going after Sky Blue with a sharpshooter, and Sky Blue has no choice to tap out. The winner by submission, Alex Windsor, Queen Amnata, and Willow Nightingale. This was a fun 6-woman tag team match, but the women's division in AEW is chaotic. But it is what it is. Our attention is drawn to Queen Amnata and Toni Storm fighting it out on the balcony, and they take that elsewhere as we see the ring clear off everyone but Windsor and Mercedes Moné, with the champ going after one of her challengers for Forbidden Door. The fight between Athena and Toni Storm makes its way to ringside, with the former forever champion on the upper hand, only for Toni Storm to fight back from the ropes. Windsor forces Mercedes Moné out of the ring before Toni Storm enters the ring to grab a microphone and so many words challenge Mercedes Moné and Athena to a tag match next week in Scotland against Toni Storm and Windsor. The match is made official with a graphic and everything, and as we also look at the fatal 4-way match for the TBS title at Forbidden Door. Take my money to see Athena versus Mercedes Moné. That match would be fire, and that's all I gotta say. Pretty fun trios match overall. Thought the focus felt more on how it relates to the Storm, to Tony Storm Athena situation, which at least made more sense post match. The tag match for next week should be a fun one. Hashtag AEW Dynamite. Backstage, we hear from Will Ospreay, who reveals that Tony Khan is thrilled to have a lights-out steel cage match for Forbidden Door. There are a couple people to be confirmed, but Will Ospreay had a chat with his old boss and announces that Hiroshi Tanahashi is joining him and Darby Allin to face the Death Riders in this match at Forbidden Door. When asked about his neck, he simply says he's fine before telling Renee Paquette to let her husband John Moxley know Will wants a chat next week in Glasgow. Alright, we head back to ringside for our match for our next match as Adam Copeland gets a great reaction, including the crowd singing his song. FTR music hits and we see security nearly dragging Stokely halfway out of the ring to get this match on the way. So we get Adam Copeland versus Stokely halfway. And this match right here, this was a quick match. Alright, but I'm glad Adam Copeland won. Stokely halfway tries, he really does, but Cope takes him down with ease. Stoke goes for another shoulder tackle, but it doesn't even phase Copeland. Halfway tries to get on Copeland's good side, but he gets walloped sending Stokely to the outside before grabbing a microphone for an informed poll from the crowd. He asks one guy what he thinks of Stokely, and we get a reminder of what Stokes said last week about him being short ball. Getting no checks, notes. You know what? Cope asks someone in the crowd what Stokes' chances are, and is that a series of questions. No. In response, Cope brings Stoke back in the ring as FTR comes to the ramp, but they offer no help as Cope lands a spear. He asks FTR if they're just gonna leave him, and eventually they go after Cope, which means the restraining order is non-evolved. Cope finally gets some revenge as he goes after FTR, but Stokely gets him in the face with some powder. The referee calls for the belt. The winner by disqualification, Adam Copeland. My favorite part was when Adam Copeland goes to the crowd, goes to the fan. That part was funny. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But that was a quick match. FTR looks for a spike pile driver on the Rated R Superstar, but Christian Cage comes out with a spike of his own to run FTR out of the ring. Nick Wayne comes to the ring with a chair, but it's fended off by a spike swinging, forcing Nick Wayne to regroup with his mom and fake brother on the outside as we see Christian Cage and Copeland stare each other down and miss and hug it out chance. So we're going to see Adam Copeland and Christian Cage for the so Christian Cage and Adam Copeland has been reunited. So I believe that Adam Copeland and Christian Cage are going to become your AEW World Tag Team Champions. And that's all I got to say. Copeland has the chair in his hand as Cage offers spikes to him, and Cope drops the chair to accept before dropping that as the man who once considered each other brothers embrace to a pile from the crowd. It doesn't last long as Cage leaves the ring quickly after with Cope's music as he watches his one-time best friend retreat up the ramp. The Cope and Stoke match, well, it did what it needs to do, and that was set up for Copeland to get some revenge on FTR. Thought the bit with Cage was pretty intriguing as well. They have common enemies, and it becomes a matter of when they finally reunited. Hashtag AEW Dynamite. With that, we get a vintage of a Gotham-like cityscape before the Hook signals tease the former FTW champion impending return to AEW. Commercial break. Back at ringside, we get a weird entrance for Mr. Instant Replay and Slick Nick as the former EVPs. The Young Bucks makes their way to the ring. Out next are Josh Alexander and Kyle Fletcher joining these guys for our next match. Out next are the hologram Brody King, Tomohiro Ishii before we find out who is joining the squad from New Japan. It is Haruo Takahashi. With that, this match gets underway. So we get an all-star 8-man tag team match. Haruo Takahashi, Hologram, Brody King, and Tomohiro Ishii versus Kyle Fletcher, the Young Bucks, Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson, and Josh Alexander. And this match right here, this 8-man tag team match was chaotic at the same time, but it was just fun for what it was. Takahashi and Kyle Fletcher start the match off with Kyle Fletcher getting the upper hand before chaos ensues, leading to the match spilling to the outside. The Young Bucks take out Brody King, but they and the family get hit with a dive by Hologram as we go to commercial break. Back from commercial break, Brody King takes control as the legal man for his team, but an assist from the Young Bucks allows Josh Alexander to send him to the outside with a drop kick through the ropes. He makes the tag to Kyle Fletcher after bringing Brody King back into the ring, but a tag to Ishii leads to a Stone Pitbull taking control despite an effort from the former EVP. This leads to Ishii bringing Kyle Fletcher to the apron for a brainbuster, but Kyle Fletcher fights back. Takahashi gets involved, and this allows Tomohiro to drop Kyle Fletcher to the floor with a crossbody before bringing the TNT Championship back in the ring for a near fall. Alright, tag made to Hologram, who sets up for a 450 splash, but Kyle Fletcher gets the knees up. The Young Bucks comes running in, and things break down once more, all leading to the Young Bucks leading to a TK driver with an assisted by Kyle Fletcher to drive Brody King onto the rim as we go to commercial break. We are back with Hologram landing a reverse Rana on Nick Jackson before stopping and interfering Kyle Fletcher. Tag made to Takahashi, who feigns off the attack of the Young Bucks, and the family land a fury of offense, running kick on Kyle Fletcher for a cover and a 2 count. Josh Alexander tries to intercept him on the turnbuckle, but it's cut off. But this gives an opening as Josh Alexander and Kyle Fletcher quickly trade tags, leading to a tombstone pile driver. But this only gives Kyle Fletcher a near fall as Takahashi kicks out. Alright. Homer builds up speed on the ropes to land a big Larry on the Polo Star before things breaks down once again. Tag made to Josh Alexander after the Young Bucks intervene, and Josh Alexander hits an elbow strike only to get dropped with a flatliner by Takahashi. Pin is broken up by Kyle Fletcher as Tomohiro comes in, only for Kyle Fletcher to send him out of the ring, just as Brody King comes back in to send the Protostar out to the floor. Hologram sends Matt Jackson down as well before hitting a rope walk for a dive onto a pile outside. Back in the ring, Haruo escapes a C4 spike to drop Josh Alexander down hard with the time bomb for the win. The winner of the match, Haruo Takahashi, Hologram, Brody King, and Tomohiro Ishii. And this 8-man tag team match was chaotic, but it was fun at the same time. Tony Schiavone takes over ring announcer for the rest of the night, and we get the announcement that Kyle Fletcher's opponent at Forbidden Door will in fact be Haruo Takahashi. The quarter celebrates their win as the family and the Young Bucks retreat up the ramp. That 8-man tag match was chaotic as all, but also fun as you know what. So it's even out. LOL. Had a blast seeing Takahashi here. I am excited to see him face Kyle Fletcher at Forbidden Door for the TNT Championship. Hashtag AEW Dynamite. Alright, so we'll go to commercial break. We head back to ringside after a brief audio issue as Renee introduced Swerve Strickland to a big pop from the crowd. Swerve Strickland asks about his match against Okada at Forbidden Door. Something Swerve Strickland says he is his top priority, even as folks might be worried about him needing to slow down. He is quickly interrupted by the unified champion, who stares Swerve Strickland down on the ramp before taking a microphone to tell him that with that knee he has no choice. He may as well he might as well give up now. Swerve Strickland simply replies by asking whose house, garnering Swerve's house. Chant from the crowd. Okada says, okay, you know what? And this leads to Swerve Strickland shoving him off the ramp before security rushed out to stop a fight breaking out. Commentary hypes our main event coming up next. Before we get to that, we go backstage where John Moxley is asked if he's chosen his teammate for Forbidden Door. Since Hiroshi Tanahashi will be joining the fight against him. He is thankful for the info before walking away, where he meets up with the Young Bucks, only to close the door for whatever meeting he's about to have. And here's my only issue with AEW. If Swerve Strickland and Okada have beef with each other, let them fight. I said it on my WWE NXT Review Highs yesterday about security guards. I do not like security guards in WWE, just like I do not like security guards in AEW. Let Okada and Swerve Strickland fight. Let them fight it out. Give the crowd what they wanted. And that's all I gotta say. That's the only negative thing that I do not like about AEW is their security guards. If Swerve Strickland and Okada wants to have a brawl before Forbidden Door, let Okada and Swerve Strickland fight. You gotta give the crowd you gotta give the AEW fans what they really wanted and what they want to see, and that's all I gotta say. Alright, let me continue. I have to admit the follow-up segment have now confused me slightly about this Lifestyle cage match at Forbidden Door. I must have missed if they said it was 4-on-4 or 5v5 something, but the idea of John Moxley taking the Young Bucks joining them as the intrigue. So it's gonna be a 5v5 match. So that's all I gotta say. So we go to commercial break. We head back to ringside as Tony Schiavone confirms some more matches for Forbidden Door. Christian Cage and Adam Copeland will team up to face Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian. And the Lights Out Steel Cage match is now confirmed as 5-on-5, which I was right earlier, with the Golden Lovers Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega joining Will Ospreay, Darby Allin, and Hiroshi Tanahashi as they take on Death Riders, John Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli teaming with Gabe Kidd and the Young Bucks. Alright, let's move on. With that, the Ops make their way to the ring for our main event. Out next are the LFI, and we get this match on the way. So we get a non-title match, World Trio Championship. So we get a non-title match, World Trio Champions, the Ops, Samoa Joe, Kazuyori Shibata, and Powerhouse Hobbs versus LFI, Rush, Dralistico, and the Beast Mortaros. And this match right here, I ain't even gonna lie, this was a pretty good main event match right here. Pretty good. Mortaros and Powerhouse Hobbs start things off with the... let me start over. Mortaros and Powerhouse Hobbs start things off with the Powerhouse Hobbs taking control earlier before the Beast fights back for a tag to Dralistico. Tag made to Samoa Joe as well. And Samoa Joe lays into Dralistico before tagging in Shibata. The wrestler goes after LFI on the apron, and this gets them rally up as they go after Shibata, leading to a triple dropkick as we go to commercial break. Back from the final commercial break, Mortaros has taken control of the match as he gets a near fall on Shibata. Tag made to Rush, who sends the wrestler to the corner for a Fury of offense. Shibata gets back to his feet, absorbing the strike from Rush before trading them. He fights back for the corner, with a boot to the face, laying in some more before Roosh turns it around for a bit. Shibata backs to his feet as they trade strikes once more. Both men are down before Motaros and Powerhouse gets the tag in, picking back up for a horse fight that leads to Jarlistico getting caught in the crossfire. Jarlistico gets sent away before Powerhouse drops Motaros for the cover, but LFI breaks up the pin. Jarlistico and Samoa Joe each with a tag, with Samoa Joe catching Jarlistico with a springboard attack to lock the Coquina clutch, and with Rouge and Motaros kept away. Jarlistico pass out. Alright, the winner by submission to Ops. This was a pretty good main event trios tag team match. The champs celebrate their victory as commentary hypes up next week's lineup leading to Forbidden Door next Sunday. The Ops leave the ringside to a nice reaction from the crowd in Cincinnati, but we find ourselves heading to the back to hear from Hangman Adam Page. He asks about the match against MJF, but the challenger blindsides him for a sneak attack. He slams the champ head against the hood of a nearby car, asking Hangman Adam Page if he remembers when MJF said he'll break him and saying he ain't seen nothing yet. MJF steps away from a beating down Hangman Adam Page as AEW Dynamite comes to a close. Pretty good main event. Mostly just nice to see Samoa Joe back at it again. As a slight aside, with Hook's return and treatment, I'm wondering what his interactions will be with his Ops, considering how extendedly feel for him to defend the trio's title. All right. Overall, this was a solid episode of AEW Dynamite, which is I agree, and the in-ring action was maybe a touchdown from past week, but at the same time they did some really good development on Forbidden Door build, so it sort of evens out, and LOL, which is I agree with that. And AEW Dynamite goes off the air. All right, let me give my opinion what I think about AEW Dynamite. Now, AEW Dynamite was a solid show for what it was, and I give that show itself a 6 out of 10. But the build to Forbidden Door, the match card, it's going to be stacked. So that's all I gotta say. But anyway, if you guys enjoy my AEW Dynamite review on highlights, make sure you guys please watch the video from all the way from the beginning all the way towards the end. Hit that like button, subscribe to my channel for more rest content I do on the channel. Follow my social media down below in the description. And I hope I will be going live tomorrow on Twitch to play Fortnite. And that's all I gotta say. And that should be a good stream. So I hope you guys have a great night. Stay safe and always stay positive. Kept your crew, kept your kings, kept your club. Too sweet. I'm out of here. Gang. Mwah. Bang. Too sweet. Gang. And make sure you guys watch the full video from all the way from the beginning all the way towards the end. That's gonna help with the watch time hours. And that's all I gotta say. Have a great night. Stay safe and always stay positive. Kept your crew, kept your kings, kept your club. Too sweet. I'm out of here. Gang. Mwah. Bang. Too sweet. Gang.